There's two big projects going on at the moment. One is Sizewell C and the other is HS2, and both were announced with bold rhetoric, national significance, long-term promises. Both are now doing something else entirely: runaway costs, political embarrassment, and the quiet erosion of public trust. Beginning in Suffolk with the Sizewell C nuclear power station, which was originally built at £20 billion, then revised to £38 billion in 2024 prices. Internal financial modelling now places the true cost at between 65 and 80 billion in real terms, or 100 billion in nominal terms once interest and shareholder returns are included. The increase is not due to gold-plated reactors or new technology. It's a function of one key word: financing. Sizewell C is funded primarily through a regulated asset-based model, and consumers will contribute roughly £1 per month to the project during its construction, estimated to run through the mid to late 2030s, amounting to 10 to 15 billion in pre-operational surcharges alone. And while the government claims this structure reduces investor risk and spreads cost over time, in practice it shields private equity from cost overruns while exposing taxpayers to substantial financial risk. Investors like Centrica and La Chaise are guaranteed double-digit returns. The government's 44.9% equity stake, financed via the National Wealth Fund, means the Treasury will borrow tens of billions, further deepening Britain's fiscal exposure. EDF, the project's developer, has just a 12.5% stake, and one might reasonably ask who's building this plant and who's left paying for it. Supporters, including Ed Miliband, claim that Sizewell C will power 6 million homes and save £2 billion per year on grid balancing costs once it's operational. But this projection hinges on perfect delivery, on time, on budget, and without technological or environmental complications. And the precedent, Hinkley Point C, has seen costs balloon to £46 billion, with delays now extending completion into the 2030s. It's not irrational to predict a similar fate for its so-called replica in Suffolk. Now, to HS2. The original vision for a high-speed railway linking London to the north has collapsed into a grotesque parody. Initially costed at £33 billion in 2010, it was later revised to £55 billion and £72 billion, and eventually over £100 billion before the northern leg to Manchester was cancelled. We now have half a railway at twice the price, which doesn't even go down into London, doesn't get to Euston, although there's been a lot of fiddling with Euston. Euston is even more miserable because of all the building, or non-building. The core problem is similar. Successive governments have vastly underestimated inflation, planned delays, land acquisition costs, and crucially, financing charges. The Okavi review acknowledged that the full benefits of HS2 would only materialise if the entire route was completed. Instead, political cowardice has left the project truncated and incoherent, with no credible plan for regional rebalancing. Both Sizewell C and HS2 were sold to the public as solutions to national crises, energy security and regional inequality. Both have now become testaments to how Britain funds infrastructure without fiscal clarity or institutional discipline. Politicians celebrate doing big things but refuse to speak honestly about the true cost or the failure to control risk. Instead, the public's left with promises that always seem to mature after the next general election. And we're entering an era where infrastructure is essential to our national future, be it clean energy, digital connectivity or mass transit. But the method of delivery matters. When profits are privatised and risks are socialised, we don't build confidence, we build resentment. In the case of Sizewell C, the question is not merely whether nuclear power has a role in a decarbonised grid. It may well have a critical role. The question is whether this model of debt-heavy financing, skewed returns and opaque cost projections is remotely sustainable or democratic. HS2, by contrast, is a post-mortem in real time. Its fiscal and political failure is a cautionary tale. How ambition without accountability can morph like a cancer into a monument to dysfunction. In both cases, what Britain needs is not just infrastructure but institutional reform, clearer cost modelling, honest ministerial oversight, and a public not merely consulted but informed. Until then, we risk confusing size with success, and building monuments to our own illusions.